Thank you guys for joining me for a special edition of the Sit Down with Malik Wright. Although this is our annual free agency frenzy show that we do every single year, 5 days of free agency as we break down all the moves, all the rumors, and then more. If you guys could do me a huge favor, give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and remember, these videos that we do are also simulcasted on the First Star Logistics, First Star Media Group YouTube channel as well. So you can either watch it from the Sit Down Malik Wright YouTube channel or First Star Media Group. Either way, if you guys could do us a huge favor, give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss when we go live or upload content. That being said, a lot of moves kicked off, right? A lot of moves kicked off today in the NFL legal tampering period. I always laugh at that because we know there's more tampering going on, obviously, before a lot of this stuff, becomes official, if you will. But there were some moves made today. And I think the thing that shocked me the most, I will start off by saying this, Dan, before I kick it over to you, was a running back. Running backs were flying off the board today, right? One of the first deals that got done was DeAndre Swift to the Chicago Bears. And holy smokes, if they didn't get, a young general manager in polls to overcommit or overpay or overvalue on the running back position, because certainly the Eagles showed you what they thought of DeAndre Swift by not going into negotiations with him, but rather than going after a guy like Saquon Barkley. So I would say that was a little bit shocking. I didn't expect to see the running backs fly off the board as quickly as they did. So that was shocking to me. Every single year in free agency, there's a team that's going to undoubtedly regret the deal that they made, right? This year, I can't help but feel the early loser in that process are the Carolina Panthers. The absurd amount of money that they gave guard Robert Hunt was very interesting, I would say. It was very it shows a little bit how out of touch maybe Tepper and that staff might be, because I certainly think you could have acquired the services of a guy like Robert Hunt, and it wouldn't have cost you 100 million, 85 million. What was that? 85 million guaranteed, something crazy like that. So for me, there was a lot of interesting moves that were made. Kirk Cousins continues to fleece teams and to believe, giving him the money that he's looking for. But we're gonna break all that down. Daniel, I'm gonna let you take this one away, and as we get into all the free agency talk.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at this list, Malik, there was a ton of signings. We'll just go through some of these. First off, I want to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? The Jacksonville Jaguars, they were one of the teams that made, the big time splashes. And when I look at how they've ran their business recently, and, Gabe Davis, 3 years, $39 million. One of the things I took away from that was I looked at what they did last year, right? Or 2 years ago, they gave Christian Kirk a huge deal. And one of the funny things that is happening year after year was Christian Kirk had a huge game against the Jaguars. They signed him. Gabe Davis had a huge game against the Jaguars. They signed him. So I think the Jaguars, they know that they've got to go all in. They also signed Darnell Savage, the free safety. And they, put in $60 million to those two players. And they're putting all their chips in the table for Trevor Lawrence. So they were a team that I definitely looked at right away, saying, they're trying to go all in. And so I kind of want to get your thoughts real quick. Gabe Davis, $39 million, and Darnell Savage, $21 million for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, I first and foremost would be remiss if I didn't bring up my guy, Mookie Hawkins, who covers the Buffalo Bills, who told me, Malik, Gabe is going to get $15 million. And I laughed at that idea because I said anybody that decides to pay Gabe Davis $15 million must not be watching the same thing I'm watching. But before I give my opinion on the rest of those things, I got to say, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are the one team that probably are the best at picking up the most mid wide receiver talent and passing it off as if it's a game-changing move. We saw it with Christian Kirk. We saw it with Zay Jones. We saw it. I mean, Calvin Ridley didn't seem like he was the same Calvin Ridley that he was before the suspension. And now we're seeing it with a guy in Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis does not move the needle for me at all. And I think I'm so used to saying the Buffalo Bills. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to find that out in short order. That move does absolutely nothing for me. I think he is a guy that is serviceable.
Yep.
But there's a reason why if Buffalo viewed him so high, Buffalo would have did everything in their power to try to keep that guy in Buffalo, right? There was limited attempts to make that happen. Certainly at that asking price. I think Gabe Davis is a fine receiver, and I say fine very loosely. He's not a needle mover. If Jacksonville Jaguar fans are excited about that, I don't know what to tell you. I've got a boat to sell you in Mexico, I guess. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not a move that I think changes anything from for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's almost like the Pittsburgh Steelers odds to win the Super Bowl that people were saying it was like 7,500 plus 7,500, whatever it was, after acquiring Russell Wilson. It didn't move the needle at all. It was still that exact same price tag. And I think this is the same exact thing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. What does that exactly change? I like the move for a guy like Darnell Savage. Darnell Savage is a guy that I was high on, is a guy that I think, if he can get some stability around him, for whatever reason, he fell out of favor with the Green Bay Packers. I still think he has a lot of promise. So I like them being aggressive. I would have liked the moves a little bit differently, but also you got to this wide receiver free agency class is absolutely trash. I mean, if we're being honest with ourselves, right? Yeah. I would have personally preferred a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars to place a call to the Bengals and saying, hey, you got a disgruntled wide receiver in T. Higgins. What would it take to get him out of Cincinnati and into a Jacksonville Jaguars uniform versus trying to pass off Gabe Davis at $15 million or whatever it was as a signing that is going to sell this fan base. I mean, I don't know. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah, and I'm of the same belief. Gabe Davis doesn't move the needle for me, and I think the Jaguars have a lot of other questions that they've got to answer, and he doesn't really do a lot for me. So, Malik, I want to get to something before we get into some of these other names, right? Obviously, you're hearing a lot, right? NFL free agency, first day. Kind of want to ask you, what is the craziest thing, that you've heard today? Obviously, you heard the Saquon Barkley, you broke that. What is the craziest thing, or just, talk to me about how today's gone for you?
Honestly, I'm disappointed in myself, guys. I mean, I'm very transparent. I broke the forbidden rule, the rule that I said I wasn't going to break this year. I first and foremost didn't get any sleep last night. It was dropped on my lap that this whole T. Higgins thing was coming down the pipeline. And I was like, man, this can't be what it is, right? And so sort of what happened was I fell asleep. I can't lie to you guys. These guys could tell you I was taking phone calls literally all day today, and I was absolutely just gassed at the end of the night. I mean, at the end of the afternoon, and I just laid my head down for it wasn't a minute, maybe it was like an hour or two, and I woke up to 5 missed calls that leading to the Geno Stone signing for the Cincinnati Bengals. So a little disappointed there. I don't think I've really heard anything too outlandish just yet that is going to change from now until obviously midnight as this thing continues to ramp up. It shocked me to see how all in the Lions were in on DJ Reader. I would say obviously that's a spot that's obviously a spot that they felt like they needed to upgrade for sure, which is why I put that out there a couple of hours ago, because that's what I was told. And it seems like it's a spot in which DJ Reader is going to have his choice, man. He's going to have his choice, right? And is a team going to be willing to outbid the Cincinnati Bengals? Are the Bengals going to be willing to match whatever team's offer might be for a guy like DJ Reader? There are some contributing factors. I think that maybe the Bengals probably thought that, hey, DJ Reader's injury, a home guy's a team player, hometown discount, yada, 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 might be a guy that's willing to stay in Cincinnati and take a lesser deal. That does not seem like it may be the case. You figure you got teams like the Titans, but specifically the Lions, that are really, really pounding the table for DJ Reader. And what's crazy? This defensive tackle class, this defensive tackle free agency class is getting a lot of love, right? It's getting a lot of love. Chris Jones, Christian Wilkins, DJ Reader is going to cash in big, right? Even though he doesn't necessarily offer up as much as those other guys in the pass rush department, he's still a guy that's going to cash in because there's still a need for a guy that can just clog the middle of a defense line and just be an absolute beast in there. So we saw what he was able to do for the Bengals defense when he first joined here in Cincinnati. Imagine what he could do for a team like the Titans. Imagine pairing him up with a guy like Jeffrey Simmons, right? Imagine pairing him up with that, right? Imagine pairing him up with the likes of what's the young kid's name from Detroit, man?
Aiden Hutchinson.
Aiden Hutchinson. Imagine pairing him up with that. So like there's a lot, man. There's going to be a lot of opportunity for DJ Reader to make a lot of money, man. And you know what? I'm never against players cashing in, especially when it's deserved. And DJ Reader deserves every bit of money that he may get, whether it's from Cincinnati or whether it may be from another team.
Yeah, so talking about Detroit, some breaking news apparently. Carlton Davis traded from the Buccaneers to the Detroit Lions. You look at the Detroit Lions cornerback room, Cam Sutton. Besides that, a lot of people saying, that's the spot that the Lions need to fix. And it looks like they've got one of their guys. Carlton Davis, I believe, is around the age of 30, but he's still a great man-to-man corner. Very physical, will definitely fit that scheme. So Carlton Davis, and looking at the Lions, this is their time. The Lions need to go all in. We just talked about potentially DJ Reader to the Lions. Like, I like the move for them. I don't know what they gave up. I'm sure it's not a lot. But Carlton Davis to the Lions, what's your quick thoughts on that?
I'm sure it's a good move. The Lions need to continue to get better on the back end of the defense. I mean, I really don't have too much more that I think on Carlton Davis. I've always been high on the guy. I think he offers a lot. It seems the Lions are trying to address the issues that they have on the defensive side of the ball. And Reggie, let's get to some of these get some of these questions as well as we're going through this conversation, because I don't want to leave anybody out and then kind of go back. But nobody is saying DJ Reader is gone, my man. You got to listen. We said DJ Reader has a huge market out there, and there are a lot of teams that are interested in DJ Reader, which is why it's not going to just be as easy as, hey, come back to Cincinnati and just sign for whatever. So this is how it works, man. This is how it works.
Yeah, we got a couple questions. People are asking about Joe Mixon, especially our guy, Devin Heisman. He said, has there been any update on Joe Mixon and if he's being released from the Cincinnati Bengals?
Here's what I was told on Friday. No decision has been made on the Joe Mixon front. You look at it too, guys. A lot of people were making a lot about Joe Mixon's contract and stuff like that. Have you seen what some of these running backs are signing for right now? It's actually looking like it's a bit of a bargain. So like, I think it's one of those things where like, I think that the fan base is outcrying, and the Bengals are looking at it like, okay, if we get rid of Joe Mixon, who are we going to replace those snaps with? Is a guy like Chase Brown, ready to come in year 2 and take over the full running back responsibilities? No, right? And you could say, oh, just get him in the draft, but like, what are we talking about? And then you may say, oh, the free agency, who you're probably going to command the same amount that Joe Mixon's getting. These guys, look what these guys are going to be looking to command. It seems like the running back market is starting to boom a little bit more.
Yeah. Big Jim Slade said, made it on time. Houday, Malik is always right. We appreciate you tuning in. Sticking with the running backs real quick. Devin Singletary, want to get your thoughts on him. I mean, he made $16 million for 3 years. What's your quick thoughts on him making that much?
Again, a guy that does not move the needle for me. I don't really care for Devin Singletary. I don't think he's that big of a difference maker. I've been saying this for such a long time, but good on him getting paid, man. Running backs cash in at least once in their career, so good for him.
So looking at the big news for the Bengals, they signed Geno Stone, the safety. Some people are saying it's a steal. Some people are saying that Geno Stone isn't going to be, a needle mover for the Cincinnati Bengals. Geno Stone had one hell of a year this past year, right? 7 interceptions. So a lot of people are asking, what's your thoughts? Geno Stone, is he the future? Is he a huge piece for the Bengals? Geno Stone to the Bengals, Malik.
I mean, it's hard for me to say that let me just say it was a steal for the Bengals, right? He's a guy that offers a lot of upside. Obviously, he had a very great year. You just want to see the consistency of it. Obviously, expecting him to be in sort of like a starter role. I do not believe he will be the backup. I believe that his 7 interceptions were very interesting and enticing for the Cincinnati Bengals. So I love a guy like Geno Stone for the Bengals. It's hard for me to say that he's going to be the future if he, basically signed only for 2 years. It's very, very challenging to say that, because in 2 years he's going to be able to cash in again. Now, maybe the Bengals work something out and they keep him in. Maybe they like what they see. But for me, I feel like that move, although it was a bargain, it was also a move where they wanted to cover their ass, because they don't know if this was just a one-hit wonder. Essentially, we don't know if this was a flash in the pan type of thing. So you want to see what you have in a guy like Geno Stone, but without committing a ridiculous amount of money to him.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of Geno Stone. We'll obviously break him down on the Sit Down YouTube channel. We got some questions about Noah Fant, Mike Gesicki. Are they still a possibility for the Bengals at tight
Yeah,
end?
for sure. I mean, Drew Sample was always going to come back into the fold. I didn't have Drew Sample coming back at 3 years.
Yeah.
But he's here. Okay, he's here. $4.5 million this year for Drew Sample. Sure, we're blocking tight end who showed a little bit more in his game. I don't want to disrespect Drew. I think Drew did make strides. But Drew Sample does not take you off of grabbing a tight end another tight end in free agency. And remember, he's now the only tight end the Bengals have under contract, right? And are we saying Drew tight end is tight end one? No, we're not saying that, right? It's been a revolving door at the tight end position. They understand that. I still expect them to come away in free agency with a starting caliber tight end.
Yeah. I want to get to some of these. Let's just run through some of these. Kirk Cousins, first off, we haven't talked about him. Kirk Cousins of the Falcons, 4 years, $180 million.
Please.
Do you feel like it was a good move for the Falcons? And just overall, what's your thoughts on the signing?
Considering what they had on their roster, it was absolute trash, right? I mean, you got guys like, respectfully, I'm sorry, Desmond Ridder, you got Taylor Heineke, and you're wasting away talent of Kyle Pitts, Drake London. It's a no-brainer, right? You had to go out there and do something different. You had to go out there and grab a quarterback that will sort of get the most out of them. So yeah, no, I don't, I think, and guys, we're going to address the T. Higgins trade thing as well. I promise you we will. But I don't think that, I don't think that the Falcons really had any other choice, to be honest with you. It was a good move. We know where Kirk Cousins is. Is Kirk Cousins going to make the Atlanta Falcons a championship contender? No. Right? Is he going to provide stability at the quarterback position? Yes. Are they going to win games under him? Yes. Do I think you should take Kyle Pitts in your fantasy leagues this year? Yes. I think that Kyle Pitts is going to do really, really well with Kirk Cousins as his quarterback. I believe that Drake London is going to do really well with Kirk Cousins as his quarterback. But does this move the needle in terms of championship contention for them? They may be selling their fan base that. They may be selling that on social media. Oh, we got our guy Kirk Chains and all that, yada, yada. But let's be real. The guy's been in the league for how long? What has he done? Right? He's done nothing. He's a great regular season quarterback. It's a cool story, bro. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, once again, if you guys are watching this, make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to our channel. We appreciate you guys watching. Also, comment down any free agent that you want to hear our thoughts on. Malik, let's talk about the news that started the day. T. Higgins, right? Start of the day, broke the Twitter world. T. Higgins requested a trade. What's your thoughts? Is this real? What's your thoughts on T. Higgins' trade request?
Let me just say this, guys. Don't let an agent taint your opinion of a player. T. Higgins is always going to be, a beloved member of the Bengals for as long as he's here. We're always appreciative of what he's done for Cincinnati. Don't want that to be lost on that. But the fact of the matter is, it is an agent's job to make sure that their client cashes in. If their client cashes in, they cash in, right? Remember, Athletes First does nothing but sign the absolute best of the best, right? And you can't fault them for that. The issue that came about, and I guess my tweet that I put out earlier was, being lost in all this when, they intentionally put the report out that, hey, the Bengals haven't talked to us since last March, and there's more to that story, right? The initial talks weren't loving what they were hearing. They wanted to make sure that, hey, we believe we could cash in on a bigger deal. Let's have a monster season. Let's have a breakout year. Let's prove that we're worth every penny. Didn't happen. Ribs injury. Missed multiple games. Had games where he was just not even visible, right? And it could be because of the injury. Could be because, you didn't want to put it all out there because, you obviously got a big payday coming down the line. Whatever that might look like. Don't even want to put that in the air. Just saying. Whatever that might look like. It didn't cash in the same way you expect it to. So now you come back to said team, and now you're saying, hey, I know we didn't have the year that we expected, but we're still commanding wide receiver one money. Hold on. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're T. Higgins. I don't care if you're Jesse Bates. The fact of the matter is, Jesse Bates didn't get the contract that he desired in Cincinnati. It's not because the Bengals didn't value Jesse Bates, right? And I say Jesse Bates because Jesse Bates is that he's teamed up and we'll get in Athletes First. But the Bengals are a team where they want to see the consistency all around. They'll pay you. They will pay you. Remember, this is the same team that paid AJ Green time and time again, although he wasn't playing, right? They will pay you. But you have to be realistic in your asking. right? You have to be realistic in your asking. And the fact of the matter is, he did not play to the level of what Mogetta is trying to seek out for him. He did not. People are like, oh, well, he proved it this year of the Super Bowl and all that kind of stuff. But if you're going to commit dollars, especially when you know you got Jamar Chase's contract coming up, you just paid Joe Burrow and made him the highest paid quarterback in the league. You have to be very frugal with how you spend your money. You have to be. You have to be. It's just the inevitable. So the fact of the matter is, it's one of those things where you've got to be smart. And that's where the Bengals find themselves in. You know, they are coming back saying, hey, we still believe that he should get paid such and such and such. And the Bengals say, yeah, we're going to slap a franchise tag on you. Let's try again. And now it's like, no, well, we don't want to play on the franchise tag. We need to cash in now. So what's it going to be? So now you're at a stalemate, right? And the thing that sucks, right? People have said a lot today. Oh, a lot of it's in the Bengals' court. Well, sure it is. But at the same time, this is a rich wide receiver draft class. So now you have a disgruntled wide receiver on your hand, or agent on your hand. I don't even want to say T. Higgins is disgruntled, because I don't think that that's T. Higgins' tactics. I don't. I think that now you have a disgruntled player on your hands. Does that mess up the chemistry and what the ultimate goal is that you guys are trying to achieve this upcoming year? To me, I think that it would make sense to trade T. Higgins at this point, because you know, it feels like Dave Mogetta, athletes first, they succeeded in what they were trying to do, holding your feet to the fire. They succeeded. They let everybody know, hey, we're disgruntled. And make no mistake about it, the Browns, you know, the Bengals are not going to just be pressured into it. But I think it behooves them to do that, because what are you going to do? What is the end game here? Is the end game to let T. Higgins walk and get absolutely nothing out of it? What is the end game here? What are you trying to get? What are you trying to get out of it? That's the question that the Bengals can only ask themselves. What is it that we are trying to accomplish here? Are we prolonging the inevitable that he's going to walk for nothing, and what? We're going to get a third-round comp for it? Like, what is the ultimate goal in keeping T. Higgins on this roster? Why not see what you can get? Panthers, hungry for a receiver. Patriots, hungry for a receiver. And maybe they say, yeah, we're hungry for a receiver, but if we have a T. Higgins, oh, man, that's a game changer. We believe he could truly be a number one wide receiver, because now we're going to make you famous. Now we're going to see what you can actually command on the open market. You view yourself as a number one. Let's see what teams view you as. And that's what my tweet said. I think that this could have been handled so much better by both parties. Because if we knew this was coming down the line, right, talks could have started last offseason. Whether it be getting a deal done, whether it be making a trade, whatever the case may be. I don't know. The fact of the matter is, I just think that it's a situation in which it's a tricky one. I'm all about T. Higgins and what he's brought to Cincinnati and keeping that wide receiver group together, but I'm not all for it if it's going to diminish the chemistry and just the locker room culture that Zach Taylor has, works extremely hard to build up.
And I understand it's business, right? People are saying it's business 1000%. And this is where you've got one or two things. What are the Bengals going to do, and what should you do? I'm of the belief that he's the one, whether it's T. Higgins or his agent, they're the ones that made the first move of, hey, we're requesting a trade. So you would be dumb not to at least listen to what people are asking for. And if you could get a second round pick, because at the end of the day, it shows.
Woozy is gone, by the way.
Yeah, so that was the next thing I wanted to get to. Yeah. But real quick, like, Michael Pittman Jr.'s deal got done. These other people on franchise tags got done, and T. Higgins isn't done. That should tell you all you need to know about what they view T. Higgins as right now. So
I don't agree with that.
Really?
I don't agree with that. I don't think it's how they view them. I think it's how his agent views him.
Fair.
And again, he's trying to do right by his client, but also trying to do right by himself. It has nothing to do about how the Bengals view him. It has everything to do about they want to make sure they cash in. You can't cash in after having a down season or being hurt or being unavailable. You can't cash in. Not the way that you want to cash in. Not wide receiver money that you're looking to cash in. You can approach the Bengals, say, we'll sign for wide receiver 2 money. Sure, that deal can get done right now, but that's not what they're looking for. So the fact of the matter is, like, it's nothing. Like, do not leave this thinking, hey, the Bengals are just cheap. It's not that. It's completely makes sense. Imagine having an employee who is really good when he shows up, really good when he shows up and he's there. But let's say he calls out weeks at a time.
Yeah.
Right. But then it comes time to have your quarterly meeting and he asks you for a raise. What are you going to say? What are you going to say? Yo, we love the production. Yo, if you know what, how about we just keep paying you what we're paying you right now? Let's revisit this next quarter. Let's revisit this next quarter and see if, all we ask is that you're healthy. All we ask is that you're here. All that we ask is that you show up and you do your job time and, it's not that it's, would you ask yourself this? Would you invest in an injury, and not an injury prone, but a player that is not available all the time?
No.
Let me ask you a better question. Would you, because I would.
That isn't available?
No, not all the time. If I view that the person is extremely talented, I would invest in that. Now, let me ask you a separate question.
Yeah.
Would you make that said employee your highest paid, one of the highest paid in your company?
No.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the discussion we're having. So imagine that employee saying, hey, I only will accept being one of the highest paid people in the company.
Yeah. And that's, I think, because my thoughts on this real quick is I don't see them budging. And that's,
No, they're not going to.
And that's where, so at this point, right, if they're not going to budge, then what are we doing, right? You're going to go about this on the tag and have him be upset, or are you going to listen to trade offers? And that's the hard discourse with this, right?
It's really not hard. It's only difficult because it's the Bengals. Like, let's be honest with you. But I just think, and Mike John brought up a great point. He said, Malik, not arguing whatsoever and 100% not comparing the two, but Burrow has missed multiple games and they broke the bank for him. So quarterbacks are not treated equal as wide receivers in the National Football League. They're not. And when we saw Joe Burrow healthy for 2 seasons, you got to a AFC championship, you got to a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
T. Higgins has been injured almost every. And I'm not turning. I'm just being honest. This is what comes up in conversations. T. Higgins has been injured every single year. I just want to remind everybody, one of the best abilities is availability.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Does that game look different if T. Higgins is healthy against the Kansas City Chiefs, the AFC Championship game where the Bengals lost to the Chiefs? Because remember, he only played that first drive and then he went out with a hamstring injury. Does that game look different? And these are the things that come up. So when you ask to be paid accordingly or like a top receiver in the league, we have to get down. Like, it's all family, it's all love, but you have to get down to the nuts and bolts of it if you're asking to be paid like top dollar. Like, you have to. And that's just the fact of it. That's no shame. And I think the quarterback position is obviously a situation where we will always see teams overpay. We saw a guy in Sam Bradford always here, and we saw him still cashing, right? I don't know. Just my thoughts.
Yeah. So real quick, let's switch it over. Chidobe Awuzie, 3 years, $36 million, $23 million guaranteed to the Tennessee Titans. Obviously, Brian Callen had the connection with him.
Giants signed Jermaine Illuminor, by the way.
So on both of those, what's your thoughts? We'll start with Illuminor. What's thoughts on
I
him?
don't like him. I think he is I think he is whatever at the tight end position. So I'm at the tackle position, so it doesn't really mean too much for me.
And then Cheeto, which thoughts on him?
I think Cheeto. Cheeto's has been one of my favorite corners. Favorite corners in the National Football League before he joined the Bengals. It was unfortunate to see him tear his ACL, but I thought he did really, really well before that. So I'm really happy for Cheeto. He's a great guy.
Apparently, the Bengals are now getting a 3rd-round pick, compensatory pick. Apparently, they messed up, so the Bengals are getting a 3rd-round pick. A lot of people are asking offensive line in free agency offense tackle specifically has not moved as fast. Jonah Williams, obviously has not signed his deal. So what's your thoughts on Jonah Williams and the offensive tackles in free agency besides Luminor?
So I'll say this, guys, it's just the first day. It's not even the first day. It's just a couple of hours into the new not even the new league year, just legal tampering period. Just relax a little bit. Like these sometimes take a little bit to hammer out. I could tell you right now, the Bengals are in the thick of it right now with DJ Reader trying to get him back here in Cincinnati. The Bengals still want to bring back ADG. The Bengals still want to bring back Marcus Bailey. If they get those things done, who knows, right? It takes two to tango, and the situation is so fluid. I feel like the DJ Reader thing will wrap itself up here shortly. I don't believe it'll drag out too much longer, but yeah, man, I don't, you know, you know, it's I don't know, man. It's
Yeah.
this thing is literally it's fluid consistently. That's how this thing works. Like it's tonight doesn't turn into tonight where I can go home and just watch 2K. I mean, watch NBA or something like that. This thing is fluid all the way through.
Panthers trading
Brian Burns to the Giants.
Brian Burns to the Giants.
Now you got Brian Burns with you know, Kayvon Thibodeau. But to touch more on that a little bit, you know, in terms of sometimes sometimes you overvalue things and you think you're worth more than what you actually are, right? In the open market. Maybe remember, because Jonah's whole thing is he wants to be a left tackle. He wants a chance to be a left tackle. Is a team willing to give him that? I think he's gonna have a hard time. A team wasn't willing to guys, there is no update right now on Kendall Fuller. That, you know, as far as I've been told, there's no update right now, Kendall Fuller. When I know something, you guys would know something. And somebody said Misfit Fit 85 says, how's the Noah Fant coming along? Again, I feel like no news is good news. Like the tight end market, everybody just assumed he would get this big old deal, right? And maybe he still might cash in. Maybe he still might get that huge deal that undoubtedly athletes first. Dave Moore, they're going to be looking to get. Maybe he does cash in, but I think that you can't have two back-to-back poor seasons, especially a year like this year, and not score a touchdown. No fault of your own, but guess what? Men lie, women lie, numbers don't, right? And the fact of the matter is the numbers say you were not of the upper echelon tight end. I don't give a damn about your first round tag pick. I mean, like a price tag, right? I don't care about that. These teams are going to look at the numbers, especially if you're trying to command top of market value. They're going to try and look at the numbers and say, you know what? It's, you know, it doesn't work out for us that way. And I'm sorry, J.R. Davis. Yes, sir. I'll stop beating on my desk.
Yeah. So I guess to just touch on some more, keeping with tight ends. Colby Parkinson, he got paid $22 million for 3 years. The average is about what, 8 million a year.
Apologize, guys.
They're all talking about it.
I'm sorry. I'm just, you know, they guys can tell you I'm gonna talk like this. I've literally been on the phone all day today, and I'm just, it's one of those, you know, the first day of free agency is just a whirlwind. There's so much going on, and I'm just disappointed in myself because I fell asleep. It was the damn Geno, because I actually had a cool something planned if that were to happen, but whatever.
It's all good. I mean, just day one, we definitely got some more time. So
it would have been a rock. It would have been a rock gift. I'll just tell you that.
Stone. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, still some cool ones out there. Maybe a little Noah Fant action. But just to get some of these, Tony Pollard to the Titans, real quick. And just keeping with the running backs. Obviously, you touched on DeAndre Swift, got 3 years, $24 million. Tony Pollard to the Titans. What's your quick thoughts on that?
I think I love Tony Pollard. He's a guy that I've loved for so long. I'm happy for him. To me, it just feels like a good fit, right? It's a good fit. He leaves the Cowboys, goes to the Titans. I don't know. It just feels like it just fits him. Mm-hmm. I don't know what about it is. It just fits him. And I think the Titans are there's no replacing Derrick Henry. Let's start there. There's no replacing Derrick Henry and what he's meant to the Tennessee Titans for so long. But I think he's a guy that offers some more dual threat ability, I would say. I'm just excited for him. I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, and I mean, just props to Brian Callen. He's definitely this is his first chance to really build his own offense. So they're definitely adding a lot of talent. Mm-hmm. I want to touch on the Raiders. Sure. We have touched on Christian Wilkins. Christian Wilkins got paid the absolute bag. They signed Gardner Minshew. Apparently, they're quarterback competition. Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew. So Las Vegas Raiders signed Christian Wilkins, big time deal. What's your thoughts?
Rather them than us. I mean, good for them. You got to cash in when you can cash in, man. But I mean, these guys are. I think that. So here's the thing about these deals, guys. You got players that are going to sign these deals. I can guarantee you, as Daniel would say, I guarantee. I promise you that next year, these guys are going to be restructured candidates. And that's the part that sucks, right? You get in free agency and these guys throw a ridiculous amount of money at these guys, keep them, and then you realize, oh crap, we need to pay a quarterback. Oh crap, we need to do this. For the Raiders have bigger issues to fry other than getting an interior defensive tackle, right? I know that they like Chris Jones, obviously, but they still have to figure out the quarterback position, right? They're still paying a receiver in Devontae Adams, who can truly still be one of the best receivers in the league, but they don't have a quarterback. They don't have a quarterback right now. So, I don't know. For me, I ain't going to hate on it. Good for the Raiders. Cashed in, paid Christian Wilkins. Hope it works out for you.
Yeah. We real quick, just to talk about Justin Jefferson real quick. The Vikings don't have a quarterback.
Nope.
Kirk Cousins is gone. What's your thoughts on Justin Jefferson? Right now, Kellen Mond is their quarterback one. What do you think happens? Like, honestly.
Well, no, that's funny to me, man, because he sucks.
Kellen Mond, you go look at the depth chart. He's the quarterback one. So Justin Jefferson, 1,000% has to be feeling a certain way. What do you think happens, with him, or what would you do if you were him?
I mean, what can you do?
Yeah,
they control it, not you. Yeah. You can be disgruntled. You can ask for a trade. It's very similar to T. Higgins. You can pout. You can stomp your feet. You can say, we want this. And what are you going to do? They're going to bring in Sam Darnold to make you happy? Come on. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? Like, what are you going to do? Like, seriously, what can you do? If you're a guy in Justin Jefferson, there's nothing you could do. You pout, you complain, you get the tag of being a diva, right? It's a shitty situation that he finds himself in, man. Because Justin Jefferson is truly one of the elite wide receivers in the National Football League. The fact of the matter is, if I would not put it past the Vikings. I understand they said, "Oh, we want to get a deal done with Justin Jefferson," but their history. Let's talk about it. Their history, dating all the way back to Randy Moss, is use the receiver up, draft his replacement, trade him. That is what it has been. So I don't know. My ears, like most teams, when a guy drafts, when a team drafts another receiver, like when they drafted Jordan Addison, all Vikings fans like, yeah, we're gonna be so good. Jordan Addison, not me. I was like, oh. That might be the end for Justin Jefferson in Minnesota, because they just have shown the unwillingness to work with diva-esque diva-esque that they that they presume to be diva-esque. You think about it. Randy Moss, what happened? He got traded. Yep. He was quoted as saying, "I believe I got traded out of Minnesota because I care too much about winning." Right? You fast forward, even up, Adam Thielen was used until he wasn't, right? But even before, Stephon Diggs traded out. For me, picked up a guy, Jordan Addison. To me, I don't know. I feel like I'd be shocked if Justin Jefferson agreed to terms with the Minnesota Vikings. Because the fact of the matter is, it's not like Justin Jefferson won't have his pick at teams that are going to be interested in him, right? He's going to have teams that are going to be interested in him. So it's not about the money necessarily. It's going to be about trying to win. He's put up the gaudy numbers. He's been one of the best looking wide receiver free agents, right? We've seen that from him. But at what point do they, I don't know.
Yeah, if I'm Justin Jefferson, I'm looking at my options right now. First off, you want to get paid and you want to capitalize while you're one of the top receivers in the league. So if you're Justin Jefferson, I'm looking, hey, who's going to pay me and give me a quarterback, respectfully. Give me a quarterback, whether it's the Vikings or another team. Give me a damn quarterback that I can at least make the playoffs with and look respectable with. So I'm curious to see what the Vikings do. Some people say they're going to trade up, but they don't get a superstar or a very good quarterback. Justin Jefferson should definitely be looking elsewhere. We got a question from...
But before we jump to that, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Like, truly, guys, this is my favorite week of the year. This is my busiest week of the year. Free agency frenzy is going crazy. And we're live every single day. Every single day for the next 5 days at 6 p.m. We have over 500 people in the chat. I want to thank First Star. I want to thank all you guys for supporting. We're not ending right now. We still got so much more to get into. I don't know when these things are going to end. This is like no other show. We might have to order some La Rosa's pizza or some crap. I have no idea, because we are going to be live for a little bit more talking ball with you guys. So drop your questions in the comment section. But we have over 500 people in the chat. Do me a favor. We don't do super chats here. We don't do any of that. The only thing we ask for you guys, if you guys could do us a huge favor, is give this video a like. Tell your friends. Retweet us. let people know that we're live right now and we're talking all things ball, but we have over 500 people in the chat. If we can just give this video a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't. If this is your first time here, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Appreciate you.
Yeah, the platypus said you guys need to go get some La Rosa's pizza.
I was kidding. I was kidding. I was kidding.
I don't know about kidding, man. I can use some pizza, but real quick, yeah, people are saying the Bengals got to pick. They move up from pick 208 to 97. That's a huge jump for getting a third round pick. People are saying, asking T. Higgins, do you think the Panthers would be a good spot if the Bengals are looking to trade T. Higgins?
Let me just say this: what I believe. Okay. I'm unhinged on these shows usually. So I'm going to be real with you. I think that their owner is a madman. I think that they're that team on Madden that you can call. I'll give you an example. The other day I was playing Madden and I somehow acquired Justin Jefferson. Let's not get into how I did it, but I had Justin Jefferson on the Bengals. I realized I was lacking some issues. And you know who I traded with? I traded with the Panthers. I traded Justin Jefferson with the Panthers on Madden. And what I got out of it was Brian Burns. Kid you not, Marissa was here. Brian Burns, Derek Brown, J.C. Horn, and a first-round pick. That's what I got out of it.
Wow.
Just for Justin Jefferson. That's what I got. So if you guys were looking for a little cheat code in Madden, go do that trade right now in franchise mode. When I say that is how I view the Panthers GM, that's how I view him. I mean, the owner. That's how I view him. I think that this guy, we have the ability to get Bryce Young, a big-time wide receiver. Not only do I think he would trade a ridiculous haul for T. Higgins, I think he'd throw the bag at T. Higgins and give Dave Mulgeta that contract that they're looking for. Yeah. I do. Yeah. I think that they would 100% have interest in a guy like T. Higgins. I think they would. I think it would make sense if they did. They will literally just throw stuff at the wall and hoping that it sticks. 100% right.
And that's the thing with the T. Higgins talk. There are teams that are going to want him. Respectfully. There are teams that would pay him a lot of money. So you're going to have suitors, and it's up to the Bengals in the front office to actually listen to those calls and see where that goes. I want to touch on, some of these other signings really quickly about, the rest of the day. Lloyd Cushenberry was another one, great interior offensive lineman, great center. The Tennessee Titans signed him. He had a great run with the Broncos, was a great prospect coming out of college. Lloyd Cushenberry was, a solid one. Mitch Morse, the Jaguars signed him 2 years, $10 million. Another good interior offensive lineman. But one I want to kind of get your thoughts on, was what the Washington Commanders did today, right? Washington Commanders signed Dorrance Armstrong. They signed, the center Tyler Biadasz from the Dallas Cowboys. What was your thoughts, Commanders, Dorrance Armstrong, and Tyler for the interior offensive line?
Love the center addition. If you remember a couple of Free Agency Frenzy shows ago, I mentioned I'm not Free Agency Frenzy, but State of the Jungle shows. I mentioned Dorrance Armstrong as a guy that I believe would be able to cash in this free agency, and a guy that I believe that could help a team in the pass rush department. I loved the pick. I don't know. I just think that I didn't understand the gutting of their defensive line personally. Like I understand getting rid of maybe one edge rusher or one. I didn't understand the gutting of the entire defensive line, so that didn't make too much. That didn't make too much sense to me. But yeah, man, good for the Commanders. They're getting people that want to sign there and want to play there.
So I want to touch on interior defense line. We have Hey Arnold's asking, Malik, any thoughts on former Bama stud Raekwon Davis? And we also had some questions about, the 49ers, Javon Kinlaw. Obviously, Eric Armstead is not going to re-sign with the 49ers. So thoughts on Javon Kinlaw and Raekwon Davis defense line.
Just want to remind everybody, if you guys, we still got over 500 people in the chat. If you guys give this video like we're up to 100, if we can even get up to 250 likes, we greatly appreciate it. Just even if half of you guys like the video, that would mean the world to us, man. We appreciate you guys supporting. Wait, what was your question?
Javon Kinlaw, Raekwon Davis, both defensive line.
I would love Javon Kinlaw. I think he fits that mold of what the Bengals might be looking at. Again, a lot of this is going to we got to see what happens with DJ Reader.
Yep.
We have to see what happens with DJ Reader. I can't stress that enough because I do believe the Bengals will still add another defensive tackle to pair with DJ Reader. But if you don't keep DJ Reader on the fold, you now have extra capital to spend, right? because they really haven't really spent any real money yet, right? Geno Stone, bargain bin type deal. Drew Sample, as much as we're like, oh, Drew Sample, what, 3 years? It was 10.5 million, right? Well, hey, come on now. That was nothing. So Raekwon Davis, I don't know. He's an interesting one for me. He's a guy that I liked at first. Hasn't done anything in the league.
Nothing.
I mean, just done nothing in the league. Hasn't even shown me glimpses of what I'm. He hasn't given me nothing even to hold on to. It's like, you ever seen Titanic? And he's like, Jack, never let go. Like I'm letting go. You've shown me nothing. You're drowning. I'm sorry. Like you've shown me nothing to feel confident in. So 100%, I'm all in on Kinlaw. I love that. He's a guy the Bengals liked when he was coming out, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of go over.
And I'm rubbing my hands a lot, guys. Yeah. I'm trying not to hit the desk. So just like, I don't have a tick or anything, so don't think I have a tick. I'm trying not to hit the desk. I'm trying not to give you guys feedback. I'm just, I'm a little amped up right now. It's my favorite time of the year.
Oh, that's good. I mean, who's to say just keep hitting the desk? Oh, well.
No, that's laughing like bang, 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 right? So
yeah. Just a quick overview. I mean, obviously we got a lot of new people coming to the chat. People asking about Noah Fant, DJ Reader. Let me get your thoughts. If you were, in the front office, how would you go about free agency from here on, right? What positions would you address? Safety position seems to be addressed now with Geno Stone. What positions would you address from here on out in free agency?
Tight end for sure. Tight end is a position that was said to me that they're going to address in free agency, but I'm addressing tight end. I'm addressing, I feel like I'm going in circles a little bit, but you're addressing defensive tackle. You have to. You have to, right? You don't want to. The goal is not to pigeonhole yourself going into the draft. The goal is not to pigeonhole yourself going into the draft. Yeah. That's the goal, right? I mean, if you can come out of this as well with a right tackle, great, awesome. I know that's what some of the things that I've been told, right? Defensive tackle, safety, they got that safety off the board. Defensive tackle, tight end. These are things that they are interested in, things that they're looking to leave free agency with. So you need to make it happen.
Yeah, we got it. This is a fun question from our guy Michael Judon. He said, "You have one player, no money in question. Who would you go get?" And I'll read off some of the top names that are still on the board: Daniil Hunter, Tyron Smith, Leonard Williams, Kendall Fuller, Michael Wenyu, Eric Armstead, Calvin Ridley, Justin Simmons, Xavier Howard. Those are kind of the top names. If you had no money, and obviously no offense still there, but no money in question, who would you go out and sign?
I mean, it's easy. I'm going after Eric Armstead. I'm going after one of those big beasts in the middle of the defensive line. I'm not even thinking about it. I'm not even questioning it. Yeah. But I'm going after. I mean, Leonard Williams. It was a beast of an ad, right? 100%. Those are moves that I'm making because I think that you need to be able to generate pressure from the interior, and it's been too many times. Like one player should not make or break your pass rush. And DJ Reader went out, and the defensive line as a whole struggled. That speaks to his greatness as a player. That's why I say he's worth every bit of money he is going to get, whether that be in Cincinnati or somewhere else. I know he wants to stay in Cincinnati, but again, money talks.
So, yeah, we got some people. We did discuss Geno Stone, but some people asking from our guy Brian R. and others. They're saying, what does the signing of Geno Stone mean for Dax Hill and Jordan Battle? Where do you see them playing? And I'll just start this off. First off, what I saw with Geno Stone, he can play the 2 high safety. He can play the free safety position. That's what he mainly played with the Baltimore Ravens, the free safety, the deep safety, cover 2. He's kind of the back end guy. He can play some strong safety, but with the Ravens, that's what he did. The deep safety zone. He did some great work on some of the tight ends in red zone. But what does it mean for Dax Hill and Jordan Battle?
It means nothing for Jordan. Like, what you mean, like the signing of Geno Smith?
Yeah, Geno Smith. Yeah.
Geno Stone. I mean Geno Smith. That means nothing for Jordan Battle. Jordan Battle isn't going to be an absolute dog. The Bengals are excited about him. I think that you're going to see Dax Hill used a little bit differently this year. He's still going to be used, still going to be a part of this defense, of course, and a focal point as well. But I think just more to his strengths, right? Being able to roam more, be a little bit more in the box. Probably less of a communicator. That's what I expect.
Yeah, I'm with you. And the fact that now you have 3 safeties in the room is definitely a huge addition. The Disc Golf Dad said, when are we signing? A great name. When are we signing Mekhi Becton? Or is it a 3-year, $42 million extension for Jonah Williams? He's asking Mekhi Becton, basically. What's your thoughts?
I don't know what happens with Jonah Williams. I haven't checked on that. Honestly, I don't. This is a guy that still believes he can cash in the National League, and I hope he does. I want these players to get paid. They deserve it. Mekhi Becton, we'll see. We'll see what happens. There's definitely concerns there, injuries. There's definitely concern there. But, if there's one thing, Frank Pollack was in the room when that guy got drafted. He was under Frank Pollack's tutelage, if you will. And I think that if the Bengals want a Mekhi Becton, because I don't believe Mekhi will have a huge market. I know the Bengals like him coming out. I think they'll have the opportunity to grab him.
Yeah. Just sticking with that real quick. Going back to the safety room, some people are asking Nick Scott, what's the word on Nick Scott and what's your prediction for Nick Scott?
I mean, as I was told before, there was no decision made on Nick Scott. Now that was before Geno Stone got signed. If you were me, Nick Scott would have been off this team the day the season ended. But again, that's me. That's Malik Wright. I do things drastically different from those folks over at Paycor. But I just don't see any upside or anything with him personally. That's just me. He's a fast guy who's routinely out of place, who misses tackles. He's not good in coverage. I don't see he is the Eli Apple of safeties.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I think. And at least Eli brought you something.
Yeah, and Eli, I would agree. I think Eli definitely brought more than Nick Scott. But once again, if you guys are watching this, we appreciate you guys. Comment down any questions you guys have about the available free agents, the free agents that were signed. We're going to get to all you guys' questions. Make sure you guys comment down below. I want to touch on, some more of these that were signed today real quick. The Houston Texans signed 2 guys, Jeff Okudah, cornerback for 1 year, $5 million, and Danico Autry, defensive lineman, 2 years, $10 million. Personally, I love those 2 signings. You paid $15 million for 2 guys, especially Okudah, who hasn't done a lot in the league, but you're taking a flyer on him, opposite of, one of the best young cornerbacks in the league. And Danico Autry, I think, adds depth.
I'm going to get to that. Somebody said earlier, where's Versace Malik? You're going to see Versace Malik right here. Somebody said that's low-key dirty to compare him to Eli. Last I checked, Eli made several clutch plays as a Bengal. Didn't he?
I think they're saying the opposite way. I think they're saying Eli Apple was way better than Nick Scott. I think that's what they're saying.
Yeah. I think that Nick Scott will be bagging groceries at Kroger's. That's what I believe, respectfully.
Yeah.
Somebody said Eli Apple's of safety is disrespectful to Eli.
No, yeah.
I apologize.
No,
he's something.
He's still a free agent, right?
Of course.
Yeah, that boy, he's done.
Of course he is.
I was just asking Houston Texans, Jeff Okudah, Danico Autry.
I mean, Danico Autry is good. He's old at this point, but Jeff, I hope you guys know I'm not being rude. I'm being very honest and open with you guys of how I view these guys. You paid for a guy. What is he? What is Danico Autry? 34, 35?
30. Let me check.
What is he? I mean, he's a guy that's about to fall off a cliff at any point in time. Obviously, can't keep up, and he's been consistent.
33, turning 34.
Right? But in terms of Jeff Okudah has always been one of my crushes since he came out of Ohio State. I've always believed in his potential. It hasn't worked out just yet for some whatever reason.
Austin Eckler, weird, to the Washington Commanders.
Good.
Good, but I think he's fine. He's getting older now. What do you think about that?
Good for him. I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
He goes to a play. I mean, he wanted out of the Chargers for a while.
Yep.
He asked for his trade. He asked for a trade. Good for him. He has the opportunity to go there and do some continue his career. I definitely think he is going to be a guy that can win. I'm sorry, not that can win. He's going to be a guy that can produce for the Washington Commanders, and I don't really see him having too much competition. In that department, especially in the passing game. Obviously, they still have Brian
Robinson.
Brian Robinson there, still good bat, right? But
2 years, $11 million is not bad for him. And I just want to look at, Gus Edwards, the Chargers, one I absolutely loved. We've talked about this in the past. The Chargers, they've got some work to do, whether it's Bosa, Khalil Mack, they've got a lot of money issues. But Gus Edwards goes back with his former offense coordinator, Greg Roman, Jim Harbaugh, doing some good things with the Chargers. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the Chargers. They have the 5th overall pick, probably going to take an offensive tackle, Joe Alt. But Gus Edwards, the running backs, what'd you say? Huh? The running backs, a lot of them moved. I mean, look, I want to ask you, Josh Jacobs was one to the Packers. This was one that shocked me personally because I don't view Josh Jacobs as a way better running back than Aaron Jones, but Packers take Josh Jacobs over Aaron Jones, release Aaron Jones. What's your thoughts on the running backs for the Packers?
Yeah, that was interesting. That was a weird one, man. I don't know. I don't know. I think that Aaron Jones offers more upside in the passing game. It was weird to me. I just think that I think a lot of that came down to just the price tag, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you're getting older. We don't really want to pay you what we paid you. We honestly just paid you that because Aaron Rodgers was here and he wanted you here. And, you're still a very good productive back. And Aaron Jones literally, dominated for them in the playoffs against the Dallas Cowboys. So it's a little crappy. I like to see the Dallas Cowboys being on him. That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I definitely think if I'm Aaron Jones, I mean, he's from Texas. Go to the Cowboys, go to the Texans. Those are two of the teams that need a running back and that can definitely afford one. I mean, the Cowboys don't have any running backs on the roster. Rico Dowdle's free agent. Tony Pollard's gone. Going back to the Chargers, people are asking, would you trade for a guy like Joey Bosa or Khalil Mack opposite of Trey Hendrickson, even though you have Miles Murphy on your team?
No.
Yeah.
I like those. I mean, Khalil Mack is old. Yeah, no, I'm good. Joey Bosa has been injured in and out of the lineup. Honestly, yeah, no, I'm good. I want to say this stuff before we continue. Again, we've got more people that just joined the chat. If you guys can do us a huge favor, give this video a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel while you're here. So that's the big thing. I really want you guys to subscribe. We love bringing content to you guys nonstop. But has there been a bigger heel turn since Saquon, like today, Saquon Barkley? I mean, he went completely heel. Like Giants fans are literally saying they're sad. Like I saw some people even starting to burn their Saquon jersey, saying he's dead to us and stuff like that. Like people are like that was a heel turn. Like that was Rock WWE type heel. Like he didn't just like, I don't know, at least me growing up in New Jersey, man. I tell you that the Giants are very, very serious about their players, like fans, and like they're fine if you move on, if you do things like they forgave Odell and all that kind of stuff like that when Odell asked for out. They even were ready to bring him back. But like this never ends well, like in terms of like the fan base accepting that player open arms. I don't know if there's a bigger heel turn that we've witnessed since somebody said this is like Hulk Hogan's heel NWO heel turn. This was a major heel turn by Saquon Barkley, bro. But we even talked about it. Xavier McKinney too. Both of those guys just sticking it to the Giants.
Oh yeah.
And like now you got to play those guys twice a year. Meaning
Xavier's on Packers.
Xavier McKinney.
Yeah, he didn't get signed to the Eagles. Yeah, Packers.
Whoa, okay,
yeah.
So excuse my French.
No, you're good.
But okay, even Saquon Barkley, you still got to step foot in. You still got to step foot in MetLife. At least once a year. I don't know, man. That's crazy. And that was a heel turn. That was a huge heel turn. I didn't expect.
Honestly, though, what I think that Saquon, respectfully, he probably just doesn't give a shit respectfully anymore. He probably doesn't care because one, he probably feels disrespected, and two, and I didn't even realize this, he's from Philly, so this is. Oh yeah. I think he's buying into it, and when you look at it, this is a move for him. Hey, he's going to face him. He's on the better team now, and he's got talent around him. So
this is going to be by far the best offensive line he's ever had.
Yes.
Like one of the best offensive lines of football. I'm curious to see what happens with the center position, obviously, for the Eagles with the retirement of Kelsey. But,
I'm going to mark that down on my calendar. Whenever he plays the Giants, I'm going to take his props. I know that for a damn fact that once he steps in MetLife with the Eagles, he is going to have one hell of a game. Some people are saying, Nick Fote, our guy, he said the 49ers just signed Leonard Floyd to their defensive line.
Yeah, that happened
a while ago. Yeah. So Leonard Floyd, 49ers signing defensive line.
He's still kicking.
Yeah, so surprisingly. We got some people saying, talking about the offensive lineman, Jonah Williams, Illuminor. Yeah, Illuminor was signed. There still haven't been a ton of offensive tackles that were signed, so there's still going to be a market for a guy like Jonah Williams especially. But looking at, some of these guys that are still available, you look at a safety real quick. Quandre Diggs is a guy that is going to have a market, And I think a team like the Houston Texans is a perfect spot for him. You look at Quandre Diggs, and there's a ton of these other safeties that are out here. And the Bengals obviously got Geno Stone. But there's a lot of good talent still out here available. Malik, I want to get your thoughts. Interior offense lineman. You already talked about Robert Hunt. He got that huge contract. But Jonah Jackson to the Rams, 3 years, $51 million. We talked about Mitch Morse, but do any of those offensive linemen move the needle for you that got signed?
Listen, I believe that interior offensive linemen should be treated with more respect in the National Football League, and I don't feel like that they have been, for whatever reason. And I think that the gap is starting to close a little bit more between them and tackles, because if you have a team, if you have a defensive line blowing up the middle of your offense, that disrupts your entire game plan, disrupts the run game, pass game. You can kind of deal with chipping and doing different things to sort of help tackles, but interior offensive line is such a premium position, man. Such a premium position in the National Football League, and I think it needs to be treated as such. So I don't know if these guys pan out. I mean, Jonah Jackson, he's a guy that I knew at one point, Lions fans or whatever about, but you really don't know how these guys are gonna play out until they're in their with their new team. So I mean, I can't speak to players specifically. All I can say is I think that the interior offensive line position, I like to see it getting more respect around the National Football League.
Yeah,
there's been a lot of crazy money being thrown around, and I understand people saying Robert Hunt is going to play.
That's crazy. 100 million,
and man, it's just a little. I don't know, man. I can't
for an interior offensive lineman.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Some people are saying, were the Bengals interested in Jermaine Illuminor?
I never got that sense.
Yeah, and people are also asking, what does this mean for Evan Neal? I don't know if it means a whole lot for Evan Neal. Some,
Definitely doesn't mean anything for Evan.
This is just depth for the Giants offensive line.
I think we have a misconception in terms of how like we may view players and then how the rest of the league may view players. I don't think anybody was like, yeah, Jermaine Illuminor is coming in and he's going to be a beast for us, rock solid on our offensive line. It's a good depth piece.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, and Evan Mason said, "Why did the Titans pay $24 million for an older version of the RB that they already had?" I'm sure he's talking about Tyjae Spears. Yeah, I'm of the belief, like, listen, even as much as people hate on this running back draft class, you can get good young running backs. And switching over to a team like the Bengals, you got Mixon, you got Chase Brown. I wouldn't go out here and break the bank for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. If he wants 5, 6, 7 million, I mean, you look at the contract that Devin Singletary got, he got what, $6 million a year. So I wouldn't pay that personally. So the Titans paying $24 million for Pollard, good for them, but I don't know. I don't know if I'd be throwing even a guy like AJ Dillon. I don't know how much I would pay a guy like AJ Dillon. You can get Braylon Allen in the draft. That's just my thoughts on the running backs. Malik, what would be your prediction? You're looking at tomorrow, and what would be the next big signing that you see in free agency?
I think all the dominoes will start to fall once we get clarity on DJ Reader. Yep. That's as far as what I'll say, because again, they want to keep DJ Reader in the fold, right? Unfortunately, you don't know what you can. You can have an idea of what you have to work with, but you need to try and keep that guy in the fold if you can. And it's tough because once a guy hits open market, it's not like he's just a guy that had one good year. No, DJ Reader has been building up himself a great resume. Remember, the Bengals had to outbid the Denver Broncos to get DJ Reader here. And that involved with more guarantees up front, so on and so forth. And it ain't the same playing field. Yesterday's price ain't today's price, So I think that when you look around the league and you see what all these other people are paying their defensive tackles, 100% DJ Reader is going to cash in. And just about if the Bengals are willing to go as far as the Titans, the Lions are willing to go.
Yeah, we got a lot of questions. Aussie Bengals fan said, would you keep Joe Mixon? KB Art, since he said Bengals going to still get a free agent running back. I'm looking at these names. I mean, Malik, let me just ask you these names. Zach Moss, J.K. Dobbins, Damian Harris, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Rico Dowdle, Zeke, A.J. Dillon. Do these mean anything to you?
Let me address the Clyde Edwards-Helaire thing. The guy sucked his entire NFL career. He had bright moments this past year when he was thrusted into starting role because Isaiah Pacheco was hurt. But let's not forget, this is the same guy that lost his starting job. I understand the you know, the love and the need to try to recreate the LSU connection, but like some things are just better left in the past. I don't think Clyde Edwards-Helaire moves the needle for me. There's if he was the Chiefs would keep him. The Chiefs would keep him, and teams would be interested in keeping that guy. Teams would have traded for that guy at the deadline. Like for me, I don't understand the Clyde Edwards-Helaire discourse because he isn't shown that he was worthy of the first round pick that the Chiefs spent on him.
Yeah, and like it just respectfully, it makes no sense. Like you keep Joe Mixon, you have Chase Brown, they just re-signed Travion Williams, so your running back room is already crowded. What else are you gonna do? Like I said, these names don't do anything to me. So if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm keeping Joe Mixon, I'm keeping Chase Brown, and I'm gonna take one of these running backs in the draft. You can get a guy in round 4, round 5. We've talked about these guys, like Will Shipley. You got so many names. Trey Benson. These guys in the draft.
Olani.
Yeah, George Holani. I'm telling you guys, like I'd go Joe Mixon, Chase Brown, get a running back in the draft that you can develop for the next 3 years, and you're golden, right? Because if you release Joe Mixon, you save a couple $1 million, but Zach Moss and these guys don't do a lot for me. So people asking, J.K. Dobbins dealt with a ton of injuries, 2 Achilles tears, I believe. That's not a guy I'd be personally looking at.
I know the Ohio State fans would love him.
Yeah, Ohio State fans definitely love J.K. Dobbins, but there's even some names still on the market. I want to get your thoughts on some of these guys, like Levante David, Jordan Brooks, Chase Young. Let me ask you about Chase Young. Where do you think Chase Young goes? / would you take a chance on him if you were the Bengals?
The problem that the Bengals find themselves in is they've created an oversaturated defensive end room. And where does he fit in? Who's the odd person out? They still like Sam Hubbard. Sam Hubbard dealt with injuries. They still like Osai. This is the first year Osai is not dealing with surgery or anything like that. So who like what happens there? Like who's Miles Murphy is the guy the Bengals spent a first round pick on last year. Like I would for sure, but like would they? And it's tough, man.
Yeah,
it's rough. They've kind of pigeonholed themselves by going so deep in with average to subpar whatever defensive ends, and still believing that there's something more there. So I don't know.
Yeah, I want to just look at some more of these. Like a guy like Danielle Hunter's a guy, not for the Bengals specifically, but a team could get a lot of value out of him. I mean, he's still 29 years old. He's a guy. He go to a contender. And I feel like he's going to be one of the guys where I feel like there definitely needs to be a team that, attacks him this year. What's your thoughts, or within the next day or two? What's your thoughts on Danielle Hunter?
And again, guys, this happens every free agency frenzy period. You get the first deals in the morning, and I feel like this year was a little bit slower.
Yep.
And then it dies down, and then it picks right back up. We're about to end this live here shortly, and let me tell you why. Because I can almost guarantee you guys, there's like an 80% chance we might be live again tonight. Probably different setting, but there's probably 80% chance we'll probably live again tonight. Because if you know us and you've been following us, we've had live streams at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. And if the Bengals make a signing, we will be live to cover that. If there's any splash signing in the NFL, any big splash thing in the NFL, we will be live to cover it. So make no mistake about it. This is going to be the 1 week where we ain't getting no sleep. I told y'all this. I apologize in advance. But we'll be live multiple times. And I feel like we're going to find ourselves. I don't know why. I feel like we'll find ourselves live back again.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. So once again, if you guys are watching this, we appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys just at least give us a subscribe, and also turn on the post notifications like Malik was talking about. We could be live in now. We could be live in a couple hours. But if you turn on the notifications, you guys will not miss the live anytime there's big breaking news. So, I mean, with that being said, Malik, you want to?
You know what? No, because Kevin just said he might order me pizza here. What did Leonardo DiCaprio say? I'm not leaving.
He's like, I'm not leaving.
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. So
good.
We're here.
I like that.
We're here.
I'm
here
with that.
Kevin, if you're watching, yes, I'm down. I am down. I've got nowhere to be. I'm locked in. I am camped out because guess what?
Show goes on.
The show goes on, right? Just like this, just like the theme song. But the DJ Reader thing, man, I want to touch more about that as well.
Yeah.
The Bengals view DJ Reader as a guy that, you know, they just don't want to lose. You know, I view him as this year's safety tandem. That if they can keep him in the fold, they're going to try to. But it's just so difficult, man, because these guys just get, you know, get buku money thrown at them. And it's like, can you be the team that is willing to are you willing to be the team that is willing to buck that trend? Are you willing to be the team that is willing to go above and beyond? Because you can say how much you like a guy, how much you appreciate a guy, how much a guy has done for your team. But at what point do you let the money do the talking for you?
Yeah. And I'm going to be honest. I'm just looking at this board. And before this, you know, we talked about, okay, what are they going to do? Are they going to draft a defensive tackle? You got two positions you really need to fill right now. Your right tackle spot, defensive tackle. For me, when I look at the defensive lineman, if it's not DJ Reader and you don't make a splash at Geno Williams or Eric Armstead, yeah, it's looking rough. It's looking rough, right? You're going into it, a Sheldon Rankins.
Mhm.
You're going into it with, you know, Tahir Tart. Are you willing for him to be your starting defensive tackle?
Yeah, but here's the thing, dude. I also want to buck a trend here.
Yeah.
There's a trend. There's a stigma going around with the Bengals that, hey, the Bengals will not pay you if you're 30 years old. That's not true.
Yeah.
You have to look at the pie. And I feel like Tova just now when I said the pie.
That's exactly what he says. That's
oh my God. Can you tell can you tell I talk to people?
Coach speak.
When you I think I'm good at coach speak. I think I'm pretty good at coach speak at this point.
No, but good. Yeah,
when I lost my train of thought.
Defensive tackles.
I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, DJ Reader. 30 years old.
Yeah, there we go. 30 years old. When you're 30 years old, sorry guys, it's been a long day. You have to look at the guys that have been 30 years old that they've let go. And then you have to ask yourself is what were those guys trying to command? Mm-hmm. Right? What did that look like? I don't know. I think when I look at it, I don't know. I don't know if the whole 30 years old thing, because when Joe Burrow turns 30 years old, they're paying him, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're paying him. If you're able to produce, they'll pay you. If you're not able to produce and you're asking for a lot of money, they won't pay you. It's really just that simple. I don't think it's some cutoff where it's like, oh, if you're 30 years old, we don't pay you. Because do you know how many good players there are right now that are 30 years old, 31 years old, 32? Like, there's a lot of still productive players in our league at that age. So I don't, that's foolish. That's nonsense.
Yeah. And like I said, the way I look at this, like for me, like a Leonard Williams, I don't know anything obviously, but I think like that would be a long shot.
Daniel's the insider now.
No, I promise.
No, Daniel's the insider, guys. Now Daniel's the guy with all the sources. Talk to us, Daniel. I'm gonna start tweeting next year. Daniel, what are you hearing?
No.
Daniel, tell me about Kendall Fuller.
Yeah,
Daniel.
I'll tell you about these guys. But
hey, Daniel, are the Bengals gonna draft Brock Bowers?
Honestly, so I will say something. Honestly, something I've learned from this free agency class. I'm not gonna say it's easy, but when these guys are entering free agency, you'll find a correlation a lot of times with where these guys grew up, where these guys are from, and where they signed their first big time deal outside of where they were drafted. And that's a correlation I found. You even look at a guy like Mike Hyde I was looking at, right? Mike Hyde grew up a Packers fan, and he was drafted to the Green Bay Packers, and he's had some ties to them. So just looking at a lot of these guys, Saquon Barkley from the area, there's a lot of these guys that were signed that were from the area. Look at tight end Colby Parkinson, went to high school, Oaks Christian, right next to Los Angeles. He was signed with the Los Angeles Rams. So if you guys want to look at these available free agents and see where these guys potentially going to sign, you can look at, where they're from. And I assure you that has some sort of play if these guys, have some sort of pool with their agent of, hey, I want to go here. So potentially look at where they were from. But yeah, man, I mean, looking at the defensive line, if I'm the Bengals, I'm signing DJ Reader back because look at the defensive tackle class in the draft. I mean, you're either going round 1 defensive tackle, or am I relying on a round 2 guy to be my starter to replace DJ Reader? No. So,
I mean, I think that's a tough thing to ask, right? Because you don't know. I feel like nose tackle, you don't know how a guy's going to translate to the National Football League.
Yes.
You don't know if they're going to be this cog in the middle of your defensive line and you just can't stop. Like, you don't know that. We don't know that. Marissa, I'm not shaking the mic, am I? Because I see you looking at me. Okay, I was worried for a second. I don't want to abuse these people's ears, but before we continue, guys, over 500 people in the chat. We're only at 168 likes. If we can get that up to like 250, would greatly appreciate it. If you guys could get us up to 250 likes, we greatly appreciate you guys, because none of this is possible without you guys. None of this is possible without First Star Logistics. But yeah, I lost my train of thought again.
Yeah.
It's been that kind of day.
Been a long day, man.
It's been a long day. And guess what? We're still rolling.
Mm-hmm.
We're still rolling.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot we can talk about. Guy Lucky Luciano in the chat.
What's up, man?
We appreciate you, man. So let me just look at some of these available free agents, right? Because like you said, let me just stick real quick on defense tackle, Malik.
Sure.
Like I said, I don't see a world where they come out of this. Obviously, if DJ Reader gets paid elsewhere, but I mean, you look at some of these guys that were signed, they didn't sign for, crazy money. You're not going to pay DJ Reader $20 million. You're not going to pay him $18 million. Probably going to be in the range of 10 to 15. So, I don't know. I'm not leaving defense free agency without DJ Reader personally. Or to your,
I mean, it's really not up to your discretion at this point.
Yeah.
Sure, he wants to be here, but I could want to be here. I could want to live. I could want to do all this crazy stuff. But like, if the money ain't money in, then
let me ask you this. If DJ Reader, they don't offer him enough money, what would be your alternative? What's your replacement plan for DJ Reader? Because now you have BJ Hill, and that's it. What would be your replacement plan for a guy like DJ
without
Reader?
me going into any names? Because if I say a name on the show, it will be run with, and people will say, Malik said the Bengals are interested. No, you have to go after a veteran, man. You have to go after a veteran defensive tackle, and there are plenty of names to choose from. As Daniel would say, the pick of the litter. There is so many different names to choose from that you can, get a guy. You're not going to replace DJ Reader. You're not going to just replace DJ Reader. And yes, Michael Jadon, I love Tavondre Sweat. Everybody else is starting to get low on him. I love this defensive tackle class.
Yeah.
As it was said to me, about 3 guys we like. 3 guys we like. If they ain't there, we ain't going there. And they view it as a long shot that one of those guys going to be there. I don't view it as that much of a long shot, but who knows? I think you have to go and you have to say, hey, we want to get a nose tackle. We want to get another 3 tackle. I like BJ Hill, but you need someone to be able to spell whoever that nose tackle is. So that way you need to be able to try and recreate as much as you can BJ Hill, Larry Okunjobi, and that same thing was said to me. That is what they're going for. So I think Javon Kinlaw meets that criteria. He's left a lot to be desired in his Niners career. I think he had a better year this year.
Yes.
But he's a guy that I feel like some of these guys, well, people bag on Joe Judge, but he said a couple of years ago, don't tell me a player doesn't fit your system. Tell me what you're going to do to make your system fit the player. And that's what the great coaches are able to do. And I credit Lou Anarumo. I've credited this Bengals coaching staff. I think that they've done a good enough job of, especially on the defensive side of the ball, I would say, making sure that some of these players fit their system, or making sure their system fits the player's skill set. Like Eli Apple was able to have a resurgence in his career under the Lou Anarumo system. So at the end of the day, I don't read too much into, what player can you grab that's going to replace said other player? Because I don't think there's really truly any replacing DJ Reader. I don't think you can replace DJ Reader.
Yeah, no, you can't. And that's where it's, for me, when I look at it, it's either you get DJ Reader. The Lions apparently signed Marcus Davenport. Might be a good sign for the Bengals that DJ Reader's back. I don't necessarily know if
I think that was. I mean, Marcus Davenport was never a guy that was going to command a crap ton anyway.
Yeah. Jordan Brooks. Jordan Brooks, linebacker, just signed to the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are in cap hell. I will just say that. And Jordan Brooks, the Seattle Seahawks obviously didn't want to pay him all that money. So I mean that's a fine signing. I think the Dolphins have a lot of bigger issues than a Jordan Brooks. They've got to figure out, one, how do you get to a Super Bowl, right, with your guy Tua. So Malik, real quick, so I guess switching over, I want to talk about.
I'm literally working my.
No, you're good.
Right
You're
now.
good. You're good. I see you. Gave me the finger. Gave me the finger. He said, hold on, keep going. So let me touch about real quick Geno Stone, right? A lot of Bengal fans are going to want to know, Geno Stone, what are you getting with Geno Stone? I think this is a great thing for the Cincinnati Bengals. And the reason why I say that is I went back and rewatched the film. We're going to drop a film breakdown on the Sit Down YouTube channel about Geno Stone. But you have to know your personnel. And when I watched Dax Hill, I saw Dax Hill being a great cover man-to-man defender against tight ends. That was something he excelled at, right? He excelled at covering the Travis Kelce's of the world. He excelled at, red zone defense, one-on-one with a tight end. He played slot cornerback at college. I think that's where, you're going to use Dax Hill. And a guy like Geno Stone, he just gives you stability in the back end. So Geno Stone, Jordan Battle, Dax Hill, the fact that you have Geno Stone, he's just consistent. Picked off, Joe Burrow earlier this year, and he just had a lot of great games. I saw him, in the run game against the Miami Dolphins, had some great stops. In the run game against the Cincinnati Bengals, great stops on Joe Mixon. I think he's consistent. I think he's always where he's supposed to be. And that's the difference between Geno Stone and a guy like a Nick Scott, right? Because that was Nick Scott's issue, missing tackles, not being where he was supposed to. Lou Anarumo needs a guy that's consistent. He needs a guy that's going to be there and understand the playbook and know where he's supposed to be. And for me, when I watched Geno Stone's game, I absolutely loved what he brought to the Baltimore Ravens.
Geno Stone's a guy that he's a guy that's going to I think he's rangy. I think the biggest question I have is, can he do it consistently? Will he be able? Was this just a flash in the pan year, or will this be a consistent thing that we see from Geno Stone?
Yeah. No, I think, and that will be proven this year. It's obviously they didn't give him a long-term contract, only 2 years, but we'll see, right? I guess to get some of these other guys real quick, Derrick Henry, right? Derrick Henry's a free agent. Some people are saying the Houston Texans. Some people are saying the Dallas Cowboys. What's your thoughts, Derrick Henry? Is he too old? 31 years old, or 30 years old. Is he too old, or where do you feel like the market should be for him?
Man, that's a good question. I think that Derrick Henry still has a lot to offer, but I think if I'm Derrick Henry, I'm latching on to a playoff team. I don't know if he fits the Cowboys. Like, I know people are clamoring that, and the Cowboys are like, yeah, him, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't think he. You know what makes sense for me? What if Derrick Henry, and you Bengals fans are going to crush me for saying this, and I'm sorry in advance. What if Derrick Henry joined the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah.
What if he joined the Pittsburgh Steelers? I mean, I would hate to go up against him twice a year, but it makes sense.
Have Derrick Henry. Personally, what I think they would do there is, I think probably snip to a guy like Najee Harris, and you keep Jalen Warren. Derrick Henry and Jalen Warren, that wouldn't be bad. Yeah. I think that's honestly not a bad tandem.
You know what, guys? I have a funny feeling we are going to be back here live again later on tonight. I just got a feeling. When the DJ, whatever happens with DJ Raider, will be live to bring it to you guys, whether that be from the First Star Logistics Studio or more than likely the First Star Logistics Studio. But we want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to day one of NFL Free Agency Frenzy. We still got a lot more to discuss, a lot more to get into as the news breaks. And we'll be here for around the coverage, I would say, about all of it, right? I'm excited to see everything that shakes out. I know you guys are as well. Bengals fans, the biggest thing I can say to you guys is woosah. Woosah. Like what? That means be calm down. That means calm down, relax. This is it's a slower process, but just woosah.
I like that.
Just relax. It's time to relax because something could break at night, something could break the next day, or whatever. Like, just no two free agencies are the same. That's all I'm going to say, right? No two free agencies are the same. And that goes for all NFL fans. I know we don't just got Bengal fans in here. Just relax. Relax. Your team didn't make a bunch of moves right away. Consider yourself maybe one of the lucky ones. Maybe you don't feel like you need to splurge and go all crazy, right? So with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in to day one of Free Agency Frenzy. We might be back later tonight live. But until then, make sure you guys give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss when we go live or upload content from the First Star Logistics Studio. Subscribe to the First Star Media Group YouTube channel as well. Because remember, every single Free Agency Frenzy, every single State of the Jungle, every single sit down with Malik Wright, simulcasted on both channels. So until next time,